Hey guys, this is Michael Pacitto, and I got a little bit of bad news. So, High Level Summit is in full swing, and everyone is rah, 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 new features, awesome. And there's so much good stuff. Somebody has to be the bearer of bad news, and oh well, I guess it's me. So now that conversational AI is going to a more agent or a separate bot format, which means that you can have multiple AI bots that have different functions, different sets of prompts, and you can just choose which bot you want to be interacting with the client. This is a great step forward. Now, in a snapshot, how do you deliver that? Well, right now it's there, but it's kind of limited. You can only input your training data. So I'm going to show you that. So when you go to import your conversational AI, if you can see here on the screen, what we have is when you're in selecting which assets you want to bring in, like your calendars, campaigns, you'd never bring that in, custom values, all that stuff. Bot training URLs, you only get one option. So what that looks like when you're importing a snapshot or you're pushing out an update to a snapshot, I'm just going to choose, I have a snapshot that I made. I'm just going to push it out. You get to select which assets you want as part of your snapshot that's pushed out. And usually you just generally hit select all, or you might pick certain ones. Now, usually when you push out assets, if there's any issues, it'll usually just duplicate or add extra things, and you can always delete that later. But with conversational AI, this bot training URLs, if you click that, that will overwrite any bot training that you have imported. This is a big deal because this breaks how most snapshots currently run. I'll show you how this actually works. If you have snapshot 1 and you're pushing out a funnel page or a website or a custom value, it's only going to overwrite the funnel that is part of this snapshot 1 originally. It won't be able to update anything in snapshots that are not part of that. And now if you have a snapshot 2 and it has its own funnel, that snapshot will only be able to update the funnels in that snapshot. It won't be able to overwrite this guy over here. Now, the difference with this training data is that both of these snapshots are now going to be able to update your conversational AI training data. So for instance, if we go in the training data, we see training material is applicable to all bots. So this is how it should work, and I kind of agree with that. The issue, though, that every user is already used to snapshots appending things or overwriting things that are just in the snapshot. People aren't used to pushing things out that will affect the client's sub-accounts. Let's say you're an agency and you have a snapshot of an account, and if there's any training data that you put in, maybe you did a test. Now, if you push that training data to 100 accounts or 1,000 accounts, and you don't know if your clients have their own training data, if they've built things out themselves, you could inadvertently erase all of that work. Or if a snapshot you buy, if you're not aware that they accidentally included training data in their snapshot and you don't notice, then now your agency account is gone, or even worse, you pass that on to your clients. I'll show you the test I did. You can feel free to replicate this because this is all brand spanking new at this point. So what I did is I made just a quick little snapshot of my Michael Pacitto account, super secret one. So in my Michael Pacitto account, I added some links in my training data. I called it cream pies and managed-snapshots.com. And in my Market Pie account, silly name, just my little test account here. In the bot training, when I imported that snapshot, I had some different training data websites put in, like mrtesty.com or something like that. But you can see it overrided it with cream pies and managed-snapshots.com. And you can see the data refreshed there. And that's for all of the bots. So if I go back to bots and I go back to just even my default primary support bot, and I went into training, it's cream pies, it's managed-snapshots.com. So guys, be very, very careful when you're importing snapshots because this is a new way they work. So what's the big fix? So I talked to High Level already, and they have people on it, top men. But in the meantime, we still need a solution at the ground floor So what I suggest is that in your snapshots or in your account management documentation, you do have documentation, don't you? You want to be able to note based on the sub account. You can just add something in your documentation like this that says conversational AI training data. And you can have a little flag or a check that will tell you which snapshots have AI training data in it and which ones don't. So this is my Snapshot Manager Pro tool that agencies use to document their workflows, their snapshots, all that good stuff. Now, if you're a smaller agency and you need to just get started simply, just having a spreadsheet where you document your assets, saying what's in your snapshot, what description does it do, how do I set it up? Having that information is super valuable. So for this simple snapshot manager in a very easy to use spreadsheet, the way that I got around that is in my overview page where you can see the assets and what totals are. I just added a checkbox for training data and a little note that says it overwrites all account data. So it's good to keep track of this. And the thing about documenting that I find is so valuable is that the more you document your snapshots, the more in touch with what it actually does, the more confident you feel because you actually know what's happening in your snapshots. It's not this mysterious thing. I find the documentation also holds you accountable because then you're training yourself to look for those things in the future when you bring other people's snapshots in. I have been told that there's awareness of this issue and high level is generally pretty good at fixing things. But I think in this case, we're going to need to have some proactive workarounds, like some more notifications, or maybe even changing the default to overwriting to a pending, because I would much rather have to go and delete creampies.com and manage snapshots.com if I didn't want those in my account than I would then having to tell a client to go in and remember all of their training data. That's a much bigger ask. I really think people need to know about this so that they don't make a horrendous 1,000-hour mistake that they now have to clean up. If you need a snapshot documentation and you're not documenting your snapshots, look in the links below. I got a simple snapshot manager. It's a simple spreadsheet for those agencies who are just growing. They're still in the development, getting their first 10 clients in. And for agencies that are looking to scale, you have a team, you have lots of clients, and you're starting to deal with lots of organizational issues around your snapshots or your client management, definitely check out Snapshot Manager Pro, and I'll catch you guys in the next update.